I know what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's heartbreaking. People just need love right now and prayers.
Can you just kind of share what was going on during the floods and where you were and
Yeah, so we knew about the storm at least a week in advance, so it didn't sneak up on anyone. The problem is, um, we knew about it for a week, at least a week, and there was really nowhere to go because up until that day, I was still expected to work, and my family here is still expected to work. So there's really no evacuation. Now, as far as where I am in, I guess it'd be northeast Harris County, which is just northeast of Houston. And I guess where we are now, we're about 80 to 100 miles from the coast. So theoretically, even if a hurricane did come, we typically wouldn't evacuate because we are far enough away from the coast to really not feel the effects of the hurricane.
mm.
And we knew, the models forecast and all that other stuff is really well done. So we knew the storm was coming in around Corpus Christi, which is driving 3.5 hours from here. So even the eye of the storm, yeah, it's still 3.5 hours away.
Mm. So what was the flooding situation like in your neighborhood and surrounding communities?
Well, so in the spring area where I was, there wasn't much flooding. Fortunately, we have a retention pond about a quarter mile away, and it drained perfectly into the retention pond. And the retention pond just it almost got to the top of the bank. Fortunately, before it got to the top of the bank, the raining stopped enough for it to slow down and drain off perfectly. Now, you could go a mile in either direction from here, and it was, I mean, they were underwater, and it's not inches of water, it is feet of water,
Yeah.
and we're extremely lucky here. But I mean, there's countless stories just even a mile away where they have lost everything.
So when you were your kids weren't with you at the time when you were flooding, or is
No,
that right?
unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately, because they're safe. They were with their mom this weekend, and they live in Cyprus, which is about on a normal day a 30-minute drive. There's a creek that runs through Cyprus called Cypress Creek, and the mom lives right along the creek, and when it started raining Sunday night, the creek started rising, and there was no way I could get to them. We tried Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and the first day that we could get to them was Thursday. So, the bad part is, I mean, before the storm, I gave them cases of water and food to last them a few days. Kind of planning for the worst and hoping for the best. But it's kind of it's very nerve wracking when you know they're okay. You can talk to them every day, but you still can't get to them. So
Mm.
if something bad would have happened, there was nothing that we really could have done. I mean, aside from getting a boat and getting in there to them, it was just kind of just nerve wracking
So
deal.
you were prepared for the storm.
I mean, I was prepared as you could be.
Yeah. But you
We,
had advance notice and everything.
yeah, we had, I mean, a good week's notice that we knew it was going to rain. They were expecting, 15 to 20 inches, which when you see 15 or 20 inches in Houston, you're scared to death. But I think it ended up being there's spots that had 50 inches of rain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Houston, we're a coastal city, but we don't get 50 inches of rain in a year, and we got that in a matter of 2 days.
Hmm.
And I mean, as well as we could prepare, we did. But again, I mean, we up until the storm actually hit, we're expected to be here, and I can't take off work, and the kids can't be off school, and it was really business as usual until the storm hit. And even though we were prepared,
Hmm.
I mean, it still caught everyone off guard because
Yeah.
you can't fathom that amount of rain.
So what are you what are you experiencing now? Are you at home now?
I'm at home. So where I work had inches of water inside the building, so it is shut down until further notice. So I'm gonna be working from home for the next few weeks.
Hmm.
Um, the kids should be back at school next week. There are schools inside the city and further down south that could be closed for multiple weeks and maybe up to a month or two. Um, so yeah, we're home, and the weather's actually nice now. The problem, it is Houston and it's still summertime, so you know the people that did have stuff are flooding in their houses. The problem now is going to be to get their houses cleaned up
Yeah,
and
for sure.
to make sure that we don't get a mold problem and a fungus problem.
Yeah.
It's very very hot, very humid, and as you know, that's where the trouble begins when it's damp all the time.
Yeah. So the water's going down now?
Yeah, in most places it's gone down. There's still places downtown that are still trying to drain, and the Lake Conroe is just north of us, and they had to release water so the dam didn't overflow, and to protect people from their community, they had to release water. Which, when they released water, it brought more water down to Houston and the surrounding areas. And there's a few other dams and aqueducts that had to do the same thing. So it's going to take a little bit longer to drain than usual. It's because when it does drain, it's straight into these reservoirs that are having to release water on top of the water.
Hmm.
So a lot of the cleanup has begun, and it's really hard for me because where I was, there wasn't much flooding, there wasn't much damage. I mean, there's people down the road that had damage. It's really a helpless feeling because you'd go to these houses, and my ex-wife has gone to a few of these houses, and we have friends and family that were completely devastated by the storm, and you just feel helpless because I'm living here, I have power, there's no water, no damage, and these people have completely lost everything in a matter of a few days. Everything that they have worked so hard for has been taken away from them.
Hmm.
They just it's really humbling because these people, they're good people, and 80% of the city did not have flood insurance. And if you don't have flood insurance, like, this was not a wind event for us, it was a water event, and they are left with nothing. And FEMA and the government will step in and do what they can, but I just feel like there's people that are going to be forgotten. That,
Yeah.
I mean, they don't want they're not proud, but they're the type of people that aren't going to, like, go and beg for assistance
Sure.
because they understand that there's other people that have lost everything too, and they probably deserve it more.
Hmm.
So it's difficult because I'm like, guys, like, I mean, you have also lost everything. So
Yeah.
it's a, I mean,
You,
it's a difficult situation.
you said 80% of doesn't have flood. Why is that if Houston's used to flooding?
Well, I mean, we're used to it. Um,
So surely you got a flood map and flood zones,
so,
and
so if you're in a 100-year floodplain, if you're the common sense tells you to get flood insurance.
yeah.
Um, However, this is not a 100-year flood map, a 500-year floodplain. This is a once in a
Yeah.
millennial flood event, and even the best maps out there can't predict what's going to flood. I mean, you have a good idea,
Sure.
but I mean,
Sure.
this is an event that you if you look at a flood map, you see, like, the flood zones, and it's very I guess fluid,
Yeah.
if you will. And I mean, those lines don't really paint the whole picture of what happens if you're in a flood event like this.
No.
So it's kind of I
I
guess
thought
that's
you were saying that the people don't have flood insurance even that were in flood zones.
well, I mean,
There's,
it's kind of the thing it's forgotten. It's very affordable, and um, it's not it's not expensive and
yeah.
readily available.
Huh.
You just don't think about it because it's one of those things that you you don't think you'll ever need, because we've been through floods, and
Yeah.
you just kind of think you don't need that. And it came back to bite a lot of people.
Yeah, with that many inches, you're gonna be way outside of the flood zone. That we experienced that in Denham Springs.
Right.
There was a lot of people didn't have because it was. I mean, they were told they didn't need it
Right.
because they weren't in a flood zone.
The thing is about insurance is it's something that you hate to pay every month, and you rarely use it.
Right.
But when you need it, like, you love it.
Yeah.
And you definitely appreciate it. But it's just one of those things that you just don't think about, because even though we know Houston floods, I mean, you don't think about that.
Yeah.
And it's very unfortunate.
So, what are the after effects now? Do you have gas?
Gas is so 2 refineries were shut down after the flooding.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to get gas yesterday, and they're expecting the gas lines to be back up and running Sunday. So, gas is in short supply, but I believe that it'll get back up and running pretty soon, and hopefully that will be off the list.
What about what's your food and water? Are you guys have running water right now, or
Running? We do have running water. The food. We went to the grocery store yesterday, and they're trying their best to keep it stocked, but there's people that didn't have access to food for a week, so they can't keep the shelves stocked.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, everybody's coming and going and trying to reset their lives. It's the people that come in after the storm that actually care about you and actually are there and in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And, those are people I appreciate, and I think the world of you guys, and I want you guys here because I know the work you've done, and not only do you don't rebuild structures, you rebuild lives. And that's what's important. So I'm definitely going to be your cheerleader here, and do any networking I can to get you guys here and get you involved. And I think I think the world of you. So I know.
Thank you.
I know what the benefit that these people will get just having you guys here. I mean, this isn't going to be something that it takes a week or a month to fix. I mean, this is an event that's going to take years.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like I said, I mean, it's just hard for me to imagine, that these people's lives are, taken away in a matter of, days. That's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is. A good thing is Texas people they're gonna do stuff. I don't see them sitting around, so that's always a good thing when you have people that'll do stuff.
Right, and there's a grocery store here that I think they're only in Texas, and I'm not sure if they're all over Texas, but they mobilized right after the storm, and they had tractor trailers set up to come to Corpus and come to Galveston and Houston. And they were able to feed 1,000 people an hour out of those trailers.
Wow.
This is a small. They're a big company, but it's just one small part of going above and beyond what's called, and especially in an event like this, it's just good to see genuine people that are helping out, and they don't want recognition, they don't want money. They're just good people, and I guess as bad as it sounds and as terrible as it is, because there was death and devastation, but it's really good to see good people are still out there.
Yeah,
and this kind of makes a positive out of a negative.
We appreciate your time, Charlie.
If I could do anything else, is I have Josh's number. I can contact a few churches to see. And I'll get them to contact Josh or you, and I want to get this rolling. So, whatever I can do to help, you guys let me know, and I'm here for you.
All right, we'll stay in touch.
All right.
Great, I appreciate it.
Prayers are going out all the time for you.
I appreciate that. You guys are a blessing.
All right.
All right.
Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.
Bye.